Okay, we are going to do training videos of how to do prep drive or last lesson. So this is how we're going to prepare the students the best for ART's driving test. And I'm going to give a fake prep drive to Sadie, and she's just going to do what I tell her to do, and then I'm going to explain it as if I'm explaining it for the very first time to a student. And this is the best way that I've found that works. And I'm going to show you guys my route. You don't have to use my route, you can use your own, but I have a reason that I like the way the neighborhood that I've picked. It fits and matches my test route the best. Okay, so we're going to start in the parking lot. Obviously, all prep drives start in the parking lot. If you pick the student up from home on a last lesson, bring them to the parking lot and start from here. I always start by showing them the beginning of the test, and I tell them that, and then I show them the end of the test, and then I tell them that the middle of the test is all in a neighborhood, which I can't show them that part exactly, but I will mimic it as best as possible. So what we're going to do is we're going to back out and we're going to drive out this exit right here between Pizza Hut and the weed shop, and we're going to go out and out the traffic there, exiting the traffic, and we're going to explain all of that. So you're just going to listen to me talk to Sadie as she's my student. Okay. All right, we're going to begin by backing out and driving down here to exit the parking lot this direction. Once we get up here, I tell them to make, we're going to turn right and to make a full stop. And even if when they look left, if there's no traffic coming, I want them to just sit here because I want to talk to them for a second. The way I explain it is we have 3 lanes of traffic when we look left. When we look right, lanes of traffic. If at any point on their test they pull out and there's a car coming from as far as they can see from the left and they pull out into traffic, they will fail. Because those cars coming 45 miles per hour are going to reach them before they have time to pull out and turn into traffic and get up to speed. So I tell them that it's better to just sit here. You can go whenever you want. And then I also explain that we have to turn into the second lane when we look right. If you cut into this first lane, you're making a very dangerous act. Okay, so then we're on the road, and then this is the beginning of the test. You just started your driving test is what I tell them. All right, when traffic permits, change lanes to the left. I would like you guys to use that lingo. When traffic permits, change lanes to the left. So we work on this, and if they're struggling with lane changes, I help them through that, the teaching part of it. This is more so you guys can see how I do it. Okay, when traffic permits, change lanes to the right. I tell them we're going to do 3 lane changes in a row. You have to maintain your speed, you have to do all of that, plus keep that wheel steady. A trick sometimes, and then I'll say, okay, let me finish this. When traffic permits, change lanes back to the left. So we're going to move back over to the left, and then up here, I tell them, sorry, this is blurry. I say right here is where you're going to turn left into the neighborhood. I say don't do it, but that's where you turn left. And I say you do not hit the yellow lines. You cannot hit the yellow lines when you're getting into that turning lane. And then I say you sit there and wait patiently until there's no traffic. Okay, we're going to make a left at this light. So after we pass by where we turn in on our test, we come down here to 91st and Aspen to the stoplight. And I explain to them in depth the whole process of turning left at a yellow flashing arrow. Got a red, so we're just sitting here, and then obviously we're going to get a green, but whoops, how do I flip? I go over it with them, and the first thing I do is I ask them, do you know what a yellow flashing arrow means? And if they say yes, I say, what does it mean? And they'll say yield every time. And I say, who are we yielding to? And 95% of the time their answer is wrong. They say people on the left or the right. They hardly ever say oncoming traffic. So then I explain to them this whole process. This is super important. I have noticed recently that a lot of my driving tests that I have given do not know or are not comfortable with turning left on a yellow flashing arrow. And I think it's because they're not practicing it enough on driving lessons, and especially on that last lesson or that prep drive. So we just made a left at 91st and Aspen, okay? Unfortunately, we didn't get a yellow flashing arrow, so my student didn't get to practice. So what I do is 2 more. Now we're gonna drive down to 91st and Elm and turn left at that light. Then we're gonna drive down to We'll make a left, then we'll drive down to 81st and Elm to that stoplight, and we'll make a left there. So I'm gonna pause the video while we do this, and then once we get back over near the driving school, I will show you how we end the driving test. As we're driving, Sadie's driving to loop around, like I just said, I remembered I was gonna tell you a little trick. Irv taught me this. Obviously, he's the one that passed away for those that that didn't know him. Irv taught me this. If they're struggling with looking over their left shoulder or their right shoulder to check their blind spot, and they're pulling the wheel one way or the other as they're making that lane change and checking that blind spot, the trick is, I'm gonna flip the camera around because we're at a stoplight. I'm gonna have Sadie show you hand position. So she'll normally hold it here, and I will say, I want you to drop your hands down to here. So like a 4 and a, what would that be? A 4 and a 7 o'clock?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that. So you hold it there as you check your blind spot. See how her hands don't move? She just stays steady, because if you're grasping the wheel down lower instead of up higher, you're a lot less likely to pull it with that head. Because when your head and hand move simultaneously, that's when the wheel goes and the kids can't keep it straight. When you tell them to drop their hands and relax, they almost always can fix that problem. Just a tip. So we just made a left here by the Walmart neighborhood market at 91st and Elm. This is a really long straight stretch of 2-lane road, and so this I also have them do 3-lane changes. I'm not gonna have Sadie do it, but that is what I do because it's a really good opportunity to work on those 1, 2, 3 lane changes. We work on them sometimes. If I have not a lot of traffic around me, I'll even do like 5 or 6 just on this 1 mile stretch of road. And this is my routine every single time I do a prep drive. I never, ever, ever differ from the beginning of how I start my prep drives. We're almost to the light. We'll take a left up here by Walgreens at 81st and Elm, and then we're gonna head down back towards 81st and Aspen where the driving school is, and then I'll start telling you what I do for the ending of the test. Okay, we're approaching 81st and we just came down, and instead of having them do another left here at the intersection, I'm gonna tell them I want them to go straight. And this is what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say, on your test, you're going to be coming from the left. You'll come up to the intersection. You will hit this turn, a left turn on a yellow flashing arrow. And then once we go through the intersection, right here where Ace Hardware is, I'm gonna show you the of your test and how to do it correctly. Yes, Sadie just asked me, she was unsure if she was allowed to do that. Yes, you are allowed to. You can show them the beginning of the test like I just showed you guys earlier. You can show them the middle of the test. You can show them everything that's going to be on the test. The only thing you cannot do is take them into my residential neighborhood streets. So, I was explaining to Sadie also, so this route that I'm showing you, you pull out of the parking lot, you make a right. That's the beginning of the test. You make 3 lefts at yellow flashing arrows or green arrows, which we hit all 3 green, by the way, and that happens sometimes. That's why we do it multiple times. And then after the 3 lefts, you come here to this light, you have a straight, which doesn't really matter, but then you get to show them the end of the test, okay? All in 1 square mile, they're practicing 3 left turns at intersections, the beginning of the test and the end of the test. And it took us, I didn't time it, but I'm gonna say under 10 minutes. And you have 60 minutes, okay? So you can do this route multiple times. And then I go into a neighborhood and I work on the little bit of the technique stuff. Then we do parallel park. So I probably do this loop at least 4 times in a prep drive. Okay, so what we're about to do is go through this light. It just turned green. And then I'm gonna tell her, I'm gonna say, okay, up here, I'm gonna tell you to get into this middle turning lane, and it is called a suicide lane. I always use that word because anybody can get in it. So go ahead and signal left and merge into this middle turning lane. And all you need to do is make sure you're watching for oncoming traffic because they also have the right to get into it. That's why it's called a suicide lane. So always beware of oncoming traffic. We're gonna make a left in behind Ace Hardware. I always say on my driving test, at the street, turn left right before that wooden fence. This wooden house, right before the wooden fence is where we're gonna turn in. Make sure that they understand they can't hit this yellow line right here that we have painted. And then I tell them that we're gonna continue forward all the way down towards the houses. Again, this is my lingo test. So this gets them comfortable and familiar with the terms and the way I'm gonna speak. So I can give you guys printouts if you don't already have them of the designated examiner lingo, so you can start learning it. So I'll say, we're gonna continue forward just like you will on your driving test, okay? So we come all the way down here and I say, continue behind the building. So now we're gonna drive back behind the building. And then I'm gonna explain to them that this is parallel parking. This is the end of your driving test. On your driving test, you're gonna go up there and parallel park behind that red SUV. Now, I can't have you parallel park behind it right now on your practice. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you pull up right next to it, because I'm going to show you where I want you to line your car up with this car. So, as we're lining up, I'm going to tell her I want this mirror to line up with this back door handle right there. Okay, stop. See? Lines up. The back door handle. Please don't have them do the front door handle or halfway. Yesterday I had a girl tell me that one of the instructors told her to put this mirror lined up with the back bumper of the do that. Please just start them with right here at this back door handle. If you line this up, it matches perfectly and they get in every single time. I want them about if they question it, I want the distance between the red car and our car to be about a door swing away. Does that make sense? A door swing. I don't want them super close. I don't want them 10 feet away. This is the perfect amount of space for parking a car and for lining yourself up for parallel parking. So you can always open your door and show them. But every time I do a prep drive, I bring them over here and I tell them to do exactly what I'm having Sadie do right now. Line your mirror up to this door handle. And then I say, okay, we can't parallel park here, so I'm gonna take you around to the side of the building and we're gonna parallel park over there. Okay, so continue forward when traffic permits, and so we'll just drive around the side of the building. And let me go get things lined up and then I'll start the video again. Okay, so what happened was I had to have Kaylee move her car. So we just came around from parallel parking and then we're right here on the side of the building. The driving school's right here. And so we have a trailer, truck and trailer currently parked here on the side of our building. I just pretend that it's okay. What I tell my student is, while we're sitting right here next to the side of the building, I say, okay, we're gonna turn left right here. And then I loop them around over there in front of the Southern Furnishings place. And then I come back around and I line them up straight up next to this trailer like it's a car. And that's how I have them practice parallel parking. So I'm gonna just turn the video around so you can see where Sadie's driving, so you have an idea. Time. Okay. Let's just turn left here. Oh, and right here, I explained to them the importance of safety for the rest of their life of looking in parking lots. I stress it to them hardcore right there when we get to that little four-way. Turn right here. This bush, I have them turn right. But I go over parking lot observation, turn right here again. And then I always tell them we're gonna turn right after that white van down there, but don't hit this pothole. I want them to stay on the left side. And then we're going to slow down and we're gonna look really well in the parking lot again, because kids do not know how to look in parking lots. So we're avoiding that huge pothole. Please save our tires. And then we come back to this little four-way, except we're on the other side of it now. So I tell them, please slow down, stop, and creep up and look very well left and right, because these cars come from everywhere in this parking lot, every parking lot. Okay, so I tell them to line up about a door swing away, get over a little more, closer, okay? And then I put the back of this trailer by kind of like my back tire. You see, hold on, go backwards a little bit, drive backwards a little. Couple more feet. Okay, so I don't know if you can see the reflection in the window. If you look, as you're teaching, if you line the back of this trailer up with about the back tire, that's what I do when this trailer's here, and this trailer's been here a while, so I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. I don't know how to, oh, there, I was messing up. Okay, so this is where I explain parallel parking. I know you guys, I have seen it so much lately with all of the new instructors. Everyone teaches it differently. I want us to be on the same page. I am going to tell you how I teach it. I want you to teach it the best way you can, using as many things as I'm going to show you, okay? this is how I line it up. I already told you how I line it up with the red car. Okay, the first thing I tell them is it's a 3-step process. So we're gonna put it in reverse. She already has it in reverse. We're gonna turn the wheel all the way to the right, and we're gonna back up until our vehicle and the trailer becomes a pie slice or a V or a 45-degree angle. I always say all three because like me, and I know what a pie slice looks like, okay? Some people like math and they know 45-degree angle. Some people don't know what a 45-degree angle is, I swear to you. So I use all three. Okay, let's back up till we're at a good pie slice. And my kids usually laugh at me because I always make like a joke about pie and how much I love food. Because I do, I freaking love pie. It's like the best thing. Oh, as you can see, as she's backing up, our pie slice is growing bigger. Okay, stop here. That's a good pie slice. We'll sometimes tell that once you've gotten used to your pie slice, a cheat would be this shed right here. And then that's how we know we're at a good 45-degree angle. I'm gonna teach you another cheat. When you're lined up with the Yukon back there, because that Yukon never moves, the cheat for the 45-degree angle is that Turtle Creek sign right there. When our vehicle swings out to a 45-degree angle next to the Yukon, that's what you should be pointed at, is that Turtle Creek sign. FYI, really struggling. Okay, now we're going to straighten the wheel completely, and the lines on this move, on this camera move. Yep, see, left and right. And now Sadie's car is the only car that does not have backup camera lines. But I have heard from you guys, your students, that you're teaching them to use these lines to make that 45-degree angle swing. Please stop doing that, because some cars have 4, and it's really camera. Okay, see those yellow lines? So this car that we're driving, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 horizontal lines, yellow lines. Some of our cars, 4. Some of our cars have 6. Please stop telling them to line that curve up with the curb, and that's when they stop. That's never gonna give them a true angle. I know my method doesn't either, but a 45-degree angle should be visible. They should be looking at it. They should not be using that camera to line a line up with the curb until the next part. Okay, then I tell them, so her straight, so the lines are straight, and I tell her we're gonna back up till this first yellow point closest to me touches the curb. Please stop using the red line. The red line gets them too close to the curb, and we always hit it every single time. Tell them that once this little point right here, I hope you guys can see this. There we go, that's a better picture. Right there, that point, when it touches the curb is when we stop. Okay, so let's reverse backwards in a straight line. All right, there we are, we're there. It didn't quite touch it, but that's perfect. That's exactly where I want it. I don't want it backwards onto the grass area. Now you're gonna turn your wheel all the way to the left as far as it will absolutely go, and we're gonna roll back into our spot, and this front end is going to swing into our spot, and that is it, the end. Pull the emergency brake if you want. I don't care, it's not on your test. Pull the emergency brake on a parallel park, it's not a hill park, but with some of us teach it, and that's fine, I don't. So you put it in park, you say, I'm done. I make them say, I'm done, because they're gonna have to tell me they're done. So it's kind of like that period to the end of the sentence, like, I'm done. Like, I'm finished, I did what I'm supposed to do. Please do not let them pull all the way up to the Yukon. There's no point in that. This is all I'm looking for, is this maneuver. And then, once they pull away, go to pull away from the curb, they don't have to reverse. So they're avoiding an extra 2 steps. A step of pulling forward, then a step of reversing before they leave. So it's just silly. Just leave it here, park it. I also explained to them, if you mess this up, say you just completely jacked it up, do not pull back out and try again. And you explain it this way, okay? This is how they understand it. You have 3 points for this parallel park maneuver. Once you've messed it up, the 3 points already got taken away. You will never regain them, no matter how perfectly you do it the second, third, fourth time. They're gone. You can't get them back. All you can do is continue to make more mistakes while you're trying to fix your first mistake and lose additional points. You will never regain those 3 points, so let them go. You put it in park, you pull the emergency brake if you want, and you say, I'm done. Sorry, screwed it up. Pretty bad, you know? Once they say they're done, I will then say, when traffic permits, continue like you're leaving a city street. And then that's when we work on smog. So I sit here with my student and I go over smog in detail, and we go over it over and over again. Okay, so that's enough of that. I'm gonna tell you the next step of my prep drive. I never have them pull in this parking spot and pull back up to the trailer and do it again. Get a fresh start and loop around the building and come back and do it again. So that's what I'm gonna have her do. And we'll do that a minimum 3 times, sometimes more if the kid needs more. Go ahead and leave. And then after, let's just say Sadie just did her 4th parallel park here. We've looped around the building 4 times and come back and had a fresh start every time. And then I say, okay, we're done. We've done enough of that, okay? Then I will say we're gonna loop around the building 1 more time, but instead of coming back to parallel park, we're gonna practice leaving the parking lot again. Another opportunity. Don't take them out a different exit. Take them out the exit that we're always going to leave at on the driving tests. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Am I making sense?
You're making sense.
All right, good. And I keep saying because I'm an examiner, all of us, we're all trained the same way. So, sorry, Dante. Sorry, Dad. Sorry, Rich. Okay, and then right here I tell them, like, at this bush, right by the bar, at that bush, we're gonna turn and we're gonna loop back around to the building. I explain all of this to them. And then once we get up here closer to the driving school, there's a please slow down sign on the right. So I always say at that please slow down sign, that's where you're gonna turn right, and we're gonna line ourselves back up with that trailer again. And then right before we get to it, if I don't see them start looking left or hitting their brakes, I say, stop. What are you doing? This is a parking lot, remember? It's a life skill I'm teaching you, is what I say. Okay, so we are not going to do parallel parking again because she's mission accomplished. She has done it. We are done with that. So I'm going to tell him, okay, at the street, turn right, and we're going to practice this again. If you pull out in front of a car, you will fail your test. I reiterate that so much. Okay, so I need to show you that the traffic just started down there at the light. The light just turned green. Sorry, it's blurry. I'm trying. As soon as we pulled up, there was no traffic, but the light had just turned green for them. Tell your students, do not pull out, because if you pull out, you're about to have to make 3 lane changes in front of 20 to 30 cars. That's crazy. So we wait until every single car is gone. There's another car coming up over that hill. He's right in our lane. He's coming fast. There's another one and another one. And they're going to keep coming most likely until that light turns yellow or red for them. Then we got the red truck. He's about to pull out into our lane. So you have to make sure that these kids have patience, because if they dart out, it's auto fail right then and there. I'll turn them around quick. I fail 95% of my kids for pulling out right here out of this parking lot. This is why I go over it so many times with them, and we want you guys to do the same. So the light's still green. There's still cars coming up over that hill. Although that one's not in our lane, I would still appreciate them to wait just an extra few seconds. Now the light just turned yellow. Now she's gonna go. Because that extra 15, 20, 30 seconds 100% just saved her from failing. So we're back out on the road right here on my test route. We're gonna practice 3 lane changes. You don't really have to. We're gonna practice 3 lane changes, okay? Maybe even more. I'm again going to show them up here right before the top of the hill. I'm gonna say that's where you're gonna turn left into our neighborhood for the test. We're not gonna do it, so please don't signal and turn into that turning lane, but I just want you to visualize it, okay? And I tell them, remember, don't hit the yellow lines on the road. Okay, so I'm gonna pause it, and I'm gonna take you down to, we're gonna drive through 91st and Aspen Light straight. We're not gonna turn left unless I want the kid to practice some more left turns, but for training purposes, Sadie and I, so go ahead and make a left lane change. We're going to go straight once we get up here to the light, and then I will show you what neighborhood I take my kiddos into for, sorry about my camera, to try to mimic my test route, okay? And then I'm gonna take you on my test route for a second, because I'm gonna actually show you what I mean. You'll see. Okay guys, we just passed through the intersection. Right here on our left is a really nice neighborhood with the word Canton for the street. It's called Aspen Pond. Right here where this white Jeep's coming out is where we're turning, Sadie. So we talk about getting into this middle turning lane. I'm so sorry, it's blurry. We talk about not braking in the flowing lane. We talk about turning left here. We talk about waiting on oncoming traffic. and we turn in on Delmar, right here, turn left. I am then, so it's a little bit, we're just gonna go straight. It's a little bit of a curve right here, which doesn't mimic the driving school, the driving route. But back behind us was just a street. And so we would come out of that side street and we would turn right onto this street. Here's our silent stop sign that we have on our test. It's identical. It's laid out the exact same way where you can turn right, but we don't want you to turn right, so we don't say anything. I tell the students all of this, okay? So then once they do, we go down and remember this route, this layout of these streets, because I'm gonna show you my real test route in a minute. Some of you may have never even seen it. There's a street right here. We're not turning on it. There's no stop sign. There's a street coming up. Let's see if I can, okay, I want you to stop right here because I want them to see this. Okay, so there's no stop sign. I'm gonna have her or my student turn left, just like I am on my test. And up here, this street up here is a curved street. So cars come from around this corner at full speed and they are going straight past us. If we're trying to turn left onto this street, even though we don't have a stop sign, we have to yield to those cars coming around that curve. Some people don't understand that. So I take them through here and I kind of explain it. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn left. Now, Aspen Pond that we just passed right before we turned into this street, that's the neighborhood we're heading into. The left takes us from this older neighborhood where I like the streets to this newer neighborhood that has really good visible curbs, not grass grown all over it like these. They're very well maintained and they're good, long, straight streets. And so I go down right, or I go down straight to this stop sign, and it has stop signs. Some neighborhoods don't have very many stop signs. So we're gonna turn right. So we talk about stopping at the stop sign pole, you know, just the general driver's ed stuff. We go through all of that. We talk about tight right turns. So she's gonna make a tight right turn. We're gonna go down. I'm not going to really show you guys everything because I'm trying not to long, but I want you guys to, I'm gonna send you a printout of this neighborhood, of the streets, and I'm gonna highlight the ones that I drive on and kind of the loop that I make. And I just go through this neighborhood once. I have them pull over a couple different times. So here we're coming to another stop sign. I'm gonna have her make a left. But I can draw this out for you guys and give you each a copy so you can have my test route. Now, again, you can edit whatever you want, but I'm only showing you this because this is what I found after so many years of doing it, that it works best for me. Okay, so I'm gonna pause it while we go. We'll do like uphill, downhill, lots of stop signs. There's a yield sign in here, long straight streets. It's a really good practice. You're gonna turn right here. This coming up that we just turned on is huge, super long straight street with no houses on the right whatsoever. Perfect opportunity to do tons of uphill, downhill, and it's actually slanted. It does kind of like a dip, so it's great to do uphill, downhills all throughout this street. So I do multiples, at least 4, and then I'll see what else I need to add. Okay, so we just exited the neighborhood. I think there's a car behind us, crap. We're back to Delmar and Aspen, and this is where I'm gonna have her turn right. I tell her that this is exactly, see that car coming? You absolutely do not pull out in front of that car. Do not do it. I don't care how tempting it is. We are going to be extra patient because this is the same thing that happens at the end of your test. All right, so now she's gonna turn right. I tell them that this is mimicking the driving test when we exit our neighborhood. It's just like that, except it's 1 mile down the road. So again, Delmar, Aspen Pond, there's my neighborhood, but don't go in that street, okay? All right, I'm gonna right now, and then the only other thing I think I'm gonna go show you is I'm gonna take you on my test route, and I'm gonna show you that street that I just showed you in my mock neighborhood, and so you can see exactly how similar it is, but you'll actually see the real test route.